Hello, everyone. It's February 10th, 2021. It's a Wednesday, and it's actually 2 days before Chinese New Year. Just want to greet everyone in advance, Chinese New Year. Take note that on Friday, there's no trading, and you're actually watching the Philippine market update. We've got a holiday on February 12th, and of course, this is a weekend where people would actually be a little bit busy. February 12th is Chinese New Year, February 14th is Valentine's Day, and so most people will actually be doing a lot of shopping. And we have been seeing shopping aggressively in the markets, actually in the markets, whether it be stock markets, crypto assets, and of course, global markets. But for now, we're going to discuss the Philippine markets first. All right, so let's take a look at the Philippine markets. Let's read the Philippine market update. Still loading. Sorry, let me open this. Okay, so our index is now 7,082 points, or 16 points up. Let's take a look at your stats today. Let's just keep it short and simple. Your index movers today, it's 11.3 billion pesos, 130 advancers, 91 decliners. You've got foreign net buying of 122 million pesos, some winners and a little bit some losers. So let's read the index prices today. So we are seeing SM continue higher. It's 1078. You're seeing SM Prime 38 bucks, Ayala Corp 818, JG Summit 69, Ayala Land 41, Globe 2038, PLDT nearing 1400, Lucia Tan Group 15 bucks, GT Cab 566, Robinson's Land 1926, Jollibee 185.5, Meralcos 295, Robinson's Retail 57.5, Mega World is 3.9, FGen is 30 bucks, Abuedes Power 2645, AB 43, AGI 1078, DMC back below 549, Emperador 995, Pure Gold is now 39 pesos, San Miguel Corporation is about 126 pesos. Your Bloomberry continues to languish. It's now 761. Your MPI is 425, SETB 128, Metrobank 4905, ICT 124.5, URC 141, BPI 85, BDO 107. So you're seeing that the market took profits on the banks. Last night, your banks were very strong. And today, you're seeing that the market wasn't able to sustain this strength on your banks and actually took profits. Meaning, if you're going to ask me, the sustainability of your properties ascending the 40 peso, 41, 42 mark for your SM Primes and Ayala Lands are not likely to actually sustain. And your SM here at about 1078, can it go to 1,200 pesos? It could, but I think that 1,100 to 1,200 pesos, you'll see some selling pressure. Now, of course, let's take a look at your stats today. Let's take a look at your top traded names. All right, the top traded names, your Dito Telecom continues to go higher, 17.1. Your APL after hitting 25 cents, some correction right now to 23 cents. You're still seeing a trading range on your APL, 20 cents to 30 cents. Your PHA has gone up from about 160 all the way to about 320 or about 100%. Take note that this fall could be a trading range. As it reaches this 3 bucks, 314 today, you might actually be using a profit-taking notion on these movements. Your BSE also trading range. Your BSC is now trading at 1.19. So people picked it up at about 1 buck. You have seen a lot of resistances at 130, 140. So any rallies back to about 140, even all the way to 2 bucks might be actually a profit-taking area. It's a trading range. Your ASEN is now trading at about 789. So you are seeing that some people are hesitating at about 8 above. So that said, 8 to 9, you still see that selling pressure. And 7 to 6, you've got a lot of buyers, even as low as 5 bucks if ever ASEN does fall there. So it's about 5 to 10 range on your ASEN. Your BDO range is quite small. After hitting 112, it's going down again, 107. Let's see whether people pick it up again at 100. It's a higher trading range, but as you could see, the trading range is a slow step ladder format. Your BPI is now trading at 85 bucks, also taken profits after hitting nearing 87, 88. So MRC also trading range from about 52 cents, it's now 57 cents. Converge, some profit taking. After hitting 19, it's now back to about 17.8. Still see that this is above 16, 17. So let's take a look how it happens within the next couple of days. Your ABA is now trading at 133. Mary Mart is 7 bucks. Your DFNN continues higher, but still 562. You've got a lot of trading ranges on these names. Your Abra and Vulcan down 2%, 2%. SM Prime 1% up, 38. Your Robinson's Retail is just sleeping, but This is a 1 billion peso share transaction at 57 pesos. We reiterate our buying opportunity on Robinsons Retail here at about 57, 57.5, or even at 58. Looks to be a very good risk reward. If it goes down to 55 or 51, who cares? Even if it goes down to 44, I think that is an opportunity to buy. Your resistance might be 67 or 80 bucks, but from a longer term perspective, you can make about 10 to 20%. Reward is going to be big if you can hold on to it, because eventually your Robinsons Retail will reopen. All those department stores, not just your malls and department stores are down 50%. We took a look at Robinsons Retail sales, but those other formats like your supermarkets, your South Star drugstores, your generics pharmacy, it's kind of doing well. So only the specialist stores of our Robinsons Retail is actually getting hurt. And speaking of specialty stores, I mentioned, of course, that SSI looks to be a buying opportunity now that it's just 130 to 140. So it's still down. It's doing 139 today. I'd say that the downtrend is still very marked. You can see it's 184 all the way to about 124. Nonetheless, I think this drop in the last 3 months is actually more of an opportunity to buy. So the store specialist group, that's SSI, should actually be a leeway for people to think as a reopening theme when the department stores open up, especially since SSI Group hasn't wasted 1 year effort to actually do a lot of e-commerce ramp up. You can actually check out their Instagram page, their SSI Life websites, all of their Rustan's efforts to actually do well in a reopening or non-reopening market. So I'd say that SSI Group is still continuously undervalued today, so you could actually take an opportunity to buy this. Now, let's take a look at some picks. We said that DWC looks to be a great buying opportunity. You've got your Palawan real estate assets. Today continued higher at about 5.9, so it has rallied from as low as about 150 all the way to $6, about 400%. It could get a breather for people who don't have it. It could get a breather, but I think the breather is a higher low, so I don't think it goes down to about $4 anymore. Perhaps the higher low is somewhere at about 490 or $5. Within 530 to about $5, try to see an entry for those who don't have this yet. All right, let's take a look at Cebu Pacific. We always said that their tourism is going to be a bright spot come next year. That could be 2022, but the market will actually pay up for it this year or next 6 months. So you're seeing that higher lows for Cebu Pacific is emerging from about 35, 45, and now it's probably 50 resistance. But eventually, guys, even if 50, 55 is a short-term resistance, take note that at 45, you've got a strong, strong demand there, that it's possible to just hold on to it for the next 6 months to 12 months. In case that we actually reopen, your airline sector is going to be one of the highest beta ways to actually profit from this entire COVID pandemic situation. Take note that we also said that your restaurants is actually a good opportunity to buy up. This one is pizza, Shakey's Pizza from about $9 is now trading at 680 here and rallied to as high as 750. So this 10% move is actually, to my view, just a start of a potential higher move all the way. So higher low seen here, 680, $7, 750. Those who are looking to get into Shakey's Pizza, this might be your time to buy some Shakey's Pizza. Let's take a look at some maxes. Of course, your restaurants as a sector is going to benefit from the reopening theme come 6 months, 12 months from now. Take note that it has dropped from about as high as 830 to as low as about 6 pesos here. It has rallied back to 7. I'd say that yes, there's some resistance zones here at about 780 or 9. However, that is still a risk to the risk is small versus the reward. So this could be your view from about 5 pesos all the way to 9. Let's say whether 6 can go to 12. Like give it some time. I think that Max's and Shakey's Pizza are in a higher low. Consequently, of course, I see that your Jollibee is also doing a higher low. So these are all higher low movements. Your 175 is now trading at 185. I do think it hits back to that 210, even breaks above that. Let's take a look at some names that are your consumer names that aren't really rising. Your DNL is still sleeping here from about 670 to 740. I don't see much, so we're gonna wait out for catalyst on news for this. People are asking me what do you think about Nicolasia. I told them that Nicolasia, I don't see any potential reason to be negative on it. Secular trend remains intact. I do believe that the electric vehicle beneficiary, one of the main ways in the Philippines is still going to be your Nicolasia. Now, in terms of, because Nicolasia is a subsidiary of Sumitomo Metals Mining, and Sumitomo Metals Mining is one of the largest nickel producers and refiners in the world. So chances are all these electric vehicles, may it be a Tesla, may it be a Nextpeng, a Neo, a Li Auto, a Rivian, a Zoox, a Lucid Motors, no matter what it may be, most of them are going to have a storage battery, and storage batteries would need some nickel component inside. And so in my view, this is still a consolidation. You see that flag zone here in about 3 months from now. That is a pause. Eventually, this does breaks out. So for now, it's just a wait and see moment. Let's take a look at that. So it has rallied already from 450 to 570. It can keep on crawling. So these are higher lows, higher lows. These are companies that you can actually watch out for a potential all-time high moves. Well, not necessarily all-time high, but 52-week highs. Now, of course, with Nicolasia going strong, we could see FNI, which is a second tier, similar nickel play. So this one has some resistances at 4. Very clearly, you can see some resistance here, 360 to 430. So it's not a smooth sailing, but you'll notice that this is also a higher move from about 45 cents to as high as about 3 pesos here, about 6x. So we'll see whether we can actually go $4, 4 pesos, 50 cents within the year. There's a lot of good news on the POGO taxes, right? So I think that it would benefit your casino operators in the Philippines. And so your Bloomberry resorts here at about 760 is a higher low. This could actually be an opportunity for those who are looking to buy. 7 pesos is an opportunity in my view. Now, I'm just going to repeat some case studies here. People ask me, what do you think about BMW? I already said that it's a deep value. So in my view, deep values like this could take some time, but any prices from 7 all the way to about 5 could actually be accumulated, similar to what happened with AGI when it was being accumulated here at about 750 all the way to 5. So I think that eventually it does go to 11 to 14. You want to wait it out. Where there is value, there is a buyer opportunity. Just like what happened with FLI, we said that about 95 cents below, that's a prime value. You've got some property assets, real rental income, cash flows, and therefore it goes to about 135, 145 within the next couple of months or year. So I do think that there is a tremendous resistance. It's very clear 140 to 150 is a resistance. However, these people who got in here are not likely to just sell at 120 if they think that it's going to be worth 100% higher, meaning 180, 190, $2. The rationale, of course, that PhilInvest gives you 6 cents every year. And you've got a lot of industrial real estate, which is not actually depicted in the fundamental valuation today. So it's really more of your deep values today in the Philippines is actually a lot of your property assets perhaps getting pummeled down. True, there's no sales, but the question is, they're not really sales. They've got a lot of rental income. FLI is actually a BPO-related play, similar to your Mega World. So with Mega World actually trading here at about 390, if you expect Mega World someday to hit $5, you do expect Fly to expect 150 or above. So of course, your Ayala Land and SM Prime seems to be quite already at the resistance point. So these are really resistances at about 40 to 41, 42. All right, so I cannot answer most questions. I've got limited time. Just 1 to 2 questions for people. All right, goodbye pa rin ba ang fall? Looks like a resistance to me, 320. It can go 350, but I think resistance. What else? Any thoughts on APL this coming week? Looks like a trading range from 20 cents to 30 cents. Why will you buy GME? I saw it in your eToro portfolio. It's a very small position right now. I think that 50 to 40 looks to be a trading range. You buy it 50 all the way to 40. The resistance is about 100. It's very small. Like I won't care even if it goes to 25. I don't think that there's enough people who the shares are too small. Float is small. It's a trading related name. Dito, ano po thoughts nyo? Well, it's extended, so I think that it's a little bit too expensive. I don't see a 50% move from about 17. Nonetheless, the market can keep on extending, but I don't think it's a good value play. Lucia Tan Group, what do you think? Consolidating at the highs. So I'm not quite buyer of growth names in the Philippines. I do think that the Philippines is not a growth momentum make market. Growth plays, I'd go for the US. Tune into my market update in the global. I have a lot of tabs open. That's all usually actually USA. Yeah, so I think like the major growth moves, growth stock should be actually in the US. So Lushatan Group, in my view, isn't really a growth play. It's just a value. But when it comes to value, there's so much valuations that are probably deeper value in terms of either. So you know that the Lushatan Group is trying to unlock the value of its assets because they own a lot of real estate in the realm of PNB. So PNB already said that at about, they reported last year that they want to unlock a lot of those real estate prime assets. And if they do, I think the biggest pure play would be PNB, not necessarily Lushatan Group. Although Lushatan Group will book a lot of unrealized gains, realized gains when they do so, similar to what ABA did. I think those trying to attempt to unlock the prime real estate valuations might be better off looking at the industrial hectare lots of, number one, you've got deep value assets in DMW. Of course, a deep value asset, of course, is also DWC. And then another deep value would be your FLIs. Now, PNB could actually also be a deep value. Your SSI could also be a deep value. So the Philippines, in my view, is more of a value play or a reopening play rather than a growth play. I'm not buying Philippine companies for growth. It's just well, when it comes to deep value, it's like maybe if you think an asset is worth 100 pesos and you can buy it at 35 pesos, that's a 65% deep valuation discount. I'm willing to tolerate 35 all the way to 30 bucks if I have to. So it's more like that. So I think like Lushatan Group's main asset would be the PNB, which is right now trading at about 26 bucks. So whether you bought it at 35 all the way to 18 bucks, if you think that the assets are worth 100 pesos or more, then you've got that deep value play. Any thoughts on Mrs. G? Mrs. G just needs to look a catalyst. All of your retail holdings in the Philippines, in my view, got pummeled down. There is what you call the retail apocalypse. But what I've seen abroad is that there's just an omni-channel approach. So an omni-channel acquisition, an omni-channel approach means that you've got a brick and mortar, but you can actually do a delivery first model, meaning you're direct to consumer, you're doing what all these Shoppees, Lazadas are also doing. So Mrs. G just simply needs to ramp up that delivery, whether they're partnering with some logistics arms so that they can actually serve their customers, their millions of customers. Sayang din, because I think Mrs. G in a year hits about what are their sales formats? Something like 20 billion pesos, is it? You can just check it out. I do know that Pure Gold has about 200 billion. If my memory is correct, it's 180 billion pesos. Multiply that to about 3% margin, you've got 6 billion pesos inside a cash flow generating company like Pure Gold. And so within the retail related assets in the Philippines, I'm still more bullish on Pure Gold because it can display that cash flow. And at 38 bucks, 39 bucks doesn't seem to me worth 38, 39. Now, of course, you could argue that it's not going to move 100% here, but can it go to 40, 55? I do think it is. So thoughts about home, I don't have much idea, but home furnishings as a group should be fine. I mean, but it is a function really of how much money household spending is. Like in the US, it's very clear to me that some people are doing a lot of housing building. Like they're building homes, they're painting their homes. So your Zillows, your Open Doors of the world are doing so well. I'm not quite sure with the statistics in the Philippines. So I'm not quite sure on home. Thoughts on our REIT? Yeah, the REITs would not be a good stock. It's just a REIT. All the REITs, real estate investment trusts, are just alternatives to bonds. So with a deep value play in the Philippines, I would prefer, just me personally, I prefer to buy deep value. So I don't like to get 5% yield when I can make like 50% or 100%, just looking for values, discounts. Doesn't even have to be 50 to 100%. If you argue to me that I'll make 35% return just investing, let's say in Cebu Pacific right now, buying it at 45, 50, 39, I'll get a free trip to Japan, I'll get a free trip to USA, I'll get a free trip all over the world, while everyone doesn't like these airlines because of course naturally they've got losses. Take note that Cebu Pacific had to do a lot of these preferred convertible shares, which means that indeed JG Summit had to siphon a lot of their $100 million or more to just pay off for those losses of Cebu Pacific for the year. Granted, I think that one of the best ways to actually make money is to buy the poorest sector because it's not really a secular trend. I think that the secular reason of flights for all Filipinos is of course going to happen. It is an essential transportation need. We don't have ability to go abroad without an airline. So the state, meaning the Philippine economy, relies on tourism industry. They don't have a way to actually eliminate airlines forever. I don't think it's going to go zero. So with a deep valuation discount, that's the way that I'll play. And so I told everyone that my Carnage names since March were actually my Popoy Bash stocks. I told them that your restaurants, your Jollibees at 99 were the best assets to get. Your of course even your Bloomberries at 450, right? And even until today, let's say they've already doubled. Of course, some people would argue that, well, it's just double. Some companies already quintupled, seventuple, sextuple, tenfold. But in my view, it is really case to case. Personally, I prefer, so I took some solar plays. Yeah, I did say that Ascend was going to be well at $2, but not here at about $7-8. Like personally, after a fourfold move, it's very hard for me to actually ascertain it's going to go another double or triple. So yeah, that's me. I think like the fucking value is remaining in about properties in the Philippines. Thank you very much. Bye bye.